How's it going, everybody? This is the Ghost with the Mo, my second channel, the Ghost Pit, where I do everything other than art, basically. I am joined today by my good friend, someone who I've worked on many other projects with. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
It's been a long time, my dear friend, but I've grown, and what that means is I'm just Kish now.
Just Kish. So we have Just Kish on the channel today, and we're talking about something very special, very near and dear to my heart specifically. I don't know about Kish's here. Why would I have him on the cast if he didn't care about it? Anyways,
if I didn't care about what?
Warped Tour.
Oh,
The end of an era, Warped Tour. Because let me preface this by saying you and I have had discussions about this.
yes, we have.
And we don't think that it's necessarily going to be the very end of Warped Tour as like an actual thing, but Warped Tour as a international tour is definitely, this is the last one.
The cross-country Warped Tour is ending on its 24th year, so we could expect mighty and great things for its 25th anniversary in 2019. But first things first, we have to get through 2018, year 24, and see what this year hashtag foreverwarped has for us.
Is that the hashtag they're using right now?
It's the hashtag I'm using, so I
well.
saw it somewhere. You think I'm creative enough to come up with it on my own?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So, with that, it's just, we also understand that this Warped Tour is rumored, and very heavily rumored, as Kish can tell you, to be kind of different than the other Warped Tours. I'll let him explain a little bit.
Well, it's not going to be extremely different. The only difference that we're actually seeing is the idea of more selected dates. Big Band Appearance is the name that we've kind of given it by we under I.
Hashtag Big Band Appearance.
Hashtag Big Band Appearance. That I did create on my own. The premise is this. Previous years of Warped Tour, there have been acts that has only come for a day, that has only come for a weekend, that has only come for a week or several weekends. But because this is the send-off for Warped Tour as a cross-country tour, there's been heavily rumored that big-name acts, previous Warped Tour pioneers, might make a special guest big-name appearance at, let's say, their local city. And we've been hearing this rumor so much for the past several weeks, past several months actually, since it's been announced that Warped Tour will be ending in 2018, that we can almost accept it as fact that we will see 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5, or 6 big names, selected dates only at their specific.
Can people quote you on that?
Yes, quote me on that.
Okay, people will quote you on that. So
quote me on that. You could expect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. No more than 6. No less than 1.
Since we're there, and I know I had a couple of things before, but since we're already there anyways, let's talk about the special main stage guests that we think are going to be there, or let's say who we'd like to be there first, and then who we think are going to be there. And I know you have a few for a few different dates. I only have it for our specific date. Our date, by the way, if you want to come hang out with us and all the rest of our friends, is going to be the Mountain View Sleep Train, Northern California date.
Saturday, June 23rd, 2018.
Is there a Northern California date, like one above us?
That would be June 24th.
Is it Sacramento?
Ventura.
Okay. I thought they might not have it this year, but whatever. I also, just to let everybody know, I might be going down to the LA date as well, and then coming back up for the Mountain View date. So with that, let's
Did I say Ventura was in Northern California?
Yes.
It is not in Northern California.
Is that replacing the Anaheim or the...
Ventura is a California coastal city northwest of Los Angeles.
Okay, so it's the LA date, basically.
Yeah. I just assumed it was the NorCal date because that's the Sunday date. That's following the Mountain View, so I guess...
so maybe I'll have to... I guess I'll have to go Mountain View, then
it actually begins in Southern California. San Diego, for sure, is getting their Warped Tour before we do.
Is it San Diego or Anaheim?
It's San Diego, Sonoma, or Sonora. What's the
So we're getting like 5 dates this?
California has 4 dates.
Okay.
At least at the beginning of the tour, because Van's Warped Tour begins in California this year, which is kind of funny because last couple years
we were the anchor year.
We were the anchor year, and there's hits and misses. I don't know if there's a huge difference, but no. Pomona is where it begins on Thursday. San Diego is the day following. Our date, Saturday, June 23rd. And then the Ventura, California, So I guess it's going back down to SoCal.
And then where does it go after that? Because then we can, if it doesn't go up to Oregon, we know why they went back down is because
it starts going east after that.
Yeah, so
Arizona,
that makes sense.
Then Las Vegas, and then it's going to continue down through those southern states, and then it'll make its way back up that way.
Yeah.
It'll hit its cute little Ontario, Canada date
Oh.
around mid-July.
That's right. I forgot they go up to Canada for a hot minute.
And then they make its way, and they hang out on the East Coast for a little bit. And that's...
We didn't even think about that. There could be an Ontario band or a Canada band specifically that hits the Ontario date.
And I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I will have to scribble out something and scribble something in its place, because that changes the game.
I also think I know. Let's forget about anything. I think let's talk about, like I said, the special guest. So let's say because you already know who you think is going to be on. So who do you think is going to be on, and then you'll have the couple people that you'd like to see on?
Well, let's start actually with process of elimination. Who do I not expect?
Yes.
And I could...
But do you want to see them?
I would love to see. I mean, not as much as some other people that we know, but I think that if, for whatever reason, and there's been a lot of rumors leading into these past few weeks of a potential MCR reunishun. Hashtag reunishun. I made that one up right now. A reunishun of My Chemical Romance was heavily rumored to bring home the final cross-country Warped Tour dates.
We know a couple people or one specific person that would be very excited for that.
Unfortunately, even though there was a petition, you might have seen it online, that garnished over 20,000 signees onto this petition, it doesn't look like My Chemical Romance is going to put the makeup back on, and Gerard Way, I mean, he hasn't factored out the potential.
I was going to say, could Gerard Way, his solo project?
He is working on a solo project, and he has confirmed that he does want to finish his solo project before My Chemical Romance has a potential of reunishun.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen in time for this 2018 Warped Tour. So, all you emo kids out there, you could kiss those dreams so long, and good night.
Oh, damn. That was pretty nice. That was pretty nice.
So, you just can't expect My Chemical Romance.
I'm not okay with what you just said.
Oh, man.
I promise I'm not okay with what you just said.
I could also eliminate All American Rejects. Vans
Really?
Warped Tour has also confirmed that
weren't they on last year?
Man, I don't think it was last year was the day that they appeared, but they were on a recent year. The unfortunate thing is 2010. Is that recent?
Yeah,
I think
that's recent enough.
It's recent enough. They were approached to play a couple of those selected dates, and eventually it just turned into a hard no. They couldn't come to an agreement, so you could almost say the Rejects got rejected from the final Warped Tour. Not expecting to see them as well. I would love to see them, because I have not seen the All American Rejects live. I would love to.
I guess they just had to move along.
They had to move along. All American Rejects, My Chemical Romance, those are the two big names. And a third one, this is a wild card, just because a lot of people didn't even connect the pieces to her until she tweeted out support to the Warped Tour. But Katy Perry started off on the Warped Tour in 2008. She had just released One of the Boys, her debut album with I Kissed a Girl. So I Kissed a Girl wasn't even on the radio yet, and you could argue that.
But it was still more of a pop album, right? Which is weird for a Warped Tour lineup, kind of.
She was more indie alternative back then.
You could say she was a dark horse, that Warped Tour? You started this.
I did. I cannot blame you. But the reason I bring up Katy Perry is because...
Was she on the main stage?
I forget.
Okay.
I wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, obviously, but...
But here's the thing. Her music has taken her so far away from what the Warped Tour and the crowd that she would attract would not really fit what Warped Tour is going to try to bring. But I will say this. I will not be surprised if you go to one of these Warped Tour dates and you see Katy Perry just hanging around with her fans.
Yeah.
Not necessarily her fans, but as a fan.
Yeah.
To pay homage to this tour that pretty much gave her life.
Well,
I see Katy Perry going to a Warped Tour as an attendee, not as a performer.
Well, I don't know. I think you could, even if she's just a guest performer on somebody else's thing, like let's say for example, not that I think they're going to be there because they were there 2 years ago and then they already came back to California like a year ago. State Champs, for example. And not that they would feature her on a song, but they do have a song that involves a girl, so it's like they could essentially be like, oh, we heard Katy Perry's here today. Do you want to come up and sing this song with us?
We'll talk about State Champs in a bit.
But my point is, I could see her even performing flat out because we've had weird performances like that, for example, which is one I was going to bring up later. Waka Flocka, Flame. Like, don't get me wrong, they've had rap performances at Warped Tour before, right? But at the same time, I'll say for the Mountain View Warped Tour, there was people there specifically like that just came at the end of the day for Waka Flocka. Like, they weren't there the rest of the day. They were only there for the Waka Flocka performance. So that's the only reason I could see Katy Perry drawing, like, being a performer, is because they've done it before where it's just people will buy a ticket and just come for one performance.
The unfortunate thing is, can you guarantee that Katy Perry will be closing the night every performance, every stop?
No.
Every tour?
No.
And that's a hit and a miss. That's a pro and a con. That's just something that comes with the Warped Tour. And we could discuss that later if we so desire. But I think I'm finally going to answer your question on who do I think I'm going to see.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this a selected date?
No.
Big name, or is it just who do I expect to see?
Well,
because I have a list of 5 of people I could expect to see, but only as a pop-up, only as a one-time guest, only at their hometown. And I have a list of people that I think I could see. I could see them playing of the bigger names. So which one do you?
Like I said,
which direction do you want to go in? I'll audible either way, Fur.
There's only one direction that we can go in right now, and that's that I want to talk about the bigger names, the ones that are only going to be on one date. And
okay.
Like I said, I didn't think far enough ahead of time to look into the other dates, nor do I know where bands are from necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So I only thought about our date,
Mm-hmm.
but I would love to hear what you have to think about other dates as well.
All right. So another huge name. I actually hear 2 big names because these bands started off really driving home in the scene, and they really took off in the pop world, and they're very mainstream accepted. The first band I'm talking about, of course, is Paramore. They played for 6 years inside the Warped Tour, 2005 to 2009, 5-year total run, and then again in 2011. Now, here's the thing. It's rumored that they might be on their own tour during the summer, which would compete with the Warped Tour. Thus, they will be unable to go on the Warped Tour because they'll be doing their own tour. But their Nashville date, Nashville, Tennessee, which is their home state, hometown, their date is a Tuesday, July 10th. So I can totally see if the rumor of having their own tour comes to fruition, I could see them keeping 710 open, just so that if there's a conversation to be had, hey, on 710, we're not doing anything, you guys aren't, or you guys are doing something. You know, maybe we could
work something out.
So I could totally see Paramore being one of those pop-up, what's that, big name.
Well, we'll just call them Special Main Stage.
Special Main Stage.
Hashtag Special Main Stage.
Hashtag Special Main Stage. That's something we created right now.
Yes.
So a hashtag Special Main Stage. I see Paramore in Nashville. I see Fall Out Boy in Chicago. They were another big band to really help drive the scene, and they're very mainstream accepted now.
Were they on Warped Tour before?
2004 and 2005. So only a couple years, and then they really blew up. From Under a Cork Tree, still to this day, a very solid listen.
Yeah, of course.
It's
even the album after that was really good.
It was. I mean,
their current album's not my thing, but they are good in their own respects.
Hashtag not popular opinion. I really like Say Rock and Roll.
Ooh.
Should I leave or should I stay?
You could stay.
Hey, boy, I don't want us to have a fallout, so just tell me right now. Be upfront with me.
You could stay. I don't have a problem with. Like I said, I don't have a problem with their new stuff. It's not my kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's way more overproduced than I like. But From Under the Cork Tree and then the album after that were my favorites. So
the reason why I see them only being a pop-up band is because they're currently on their Mania tour, their latest album. The album, I actually don't like Mania. So.
One I didn't even think of that I can bring up. I don't know if he's from here, but I know he's definitely a LA devotee.
Oh.
could be Mr. Panic at the Disco himself, Brendan Urie.
That's going to be tough because as a non-Warped Tour veteran, it's going to be hard to...
They never played Warped Tour?
Panic at the Disco does not have a Warped Tour in their belt.
That's crazy. I thought they would have.
You think they would have too, but Brendan Urie has, at least as a performer, as a member of Panic at the Disco, there's nothing...
But I can bring this up as a solid counterpoint as, like, it's still a possibility to happen, is that if a band that I would love to see on Warped Tour, just because I didn't put them in my list because I would love to see them anywhere, basically, Every Time I Die actually featured him on a song in their most recent album, and he has gone on stage with them to do his part on that song before. So, hey, maybe in LA he'll pop up if Every Time I Die is on the... And Every Time I Die was on Warped Tour for a solid 5 or 6 years as well.
7 or 8.
So I could see them jumping on the last one and maybe in LA bringing out Brendan Urie to do, I believe... I don't know if it's Coin Has a Say or one of their other songs off their album, but...
I'm not sure about that Panic at the Disco thing, but you might be onto something with Every Time I Die. Producer Kevin Lyman has expressed interest in having them for their final run, calling them a, quote, must for the final run. Every Time I Die replied to that saying, hey, let's try to make it happen. And they've been playing every other year since 2006.
Yeah.
So with that trend going on since 2006...
And they had an off year last year.
They had an off year last year, so just by pure, hey...
luck, right?
They've been doing this for so long, the every other year, it would not surprise me if Every Time I Die. And if you want to use that logic, Brendan Urie is a potential.
you can quote Gacha Ghost on this. Brendan Urie featured on the Every Time I Die song. He will be at the LA date just to be featured on the Every Time I Die song when they play.
Just to wrap up Fall Out Boy, they are going on their Mania tour.
Summer?
They're going to be through the UK through April, and they start again at the end of summer.
Okay.
So it's going to be one of those things. Do they really want to do back-to-back tours like that?
Well, I agree with you. I don't think they'll be doing a whole tour, but I could see them doing... Oh, yeah.
Just a homage. And since there's so much demand for old school Fall Out Boy, dance. I only have a couple more.
They can say thanks for the memories.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was so much better than mine. That was so much better than mine. Oh, no.
They could say thanks for the memories to Warped Tour as they send it off into the sunset.
Listen, do you remember how sad we were at the beginning of the podcast saying how this is going to be the last Warped Tour? I think I'm sadder now for not thinking of that. It was there for the taking. It was right there.
You have to understand, for about 2 years of my life, all I did was listen to Under the Cork Tree and the other one. I can't remember the name of the second album.
I'm so sad. I don't even want to talk. Do I even want to talk about the last?
Yes, you do.
Because I have a pretty juicy last one. I think that's good for the last one.
Let me guess. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Oh, how many guesses do I get?
You have 3.
I have 3 guesses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it ASAP Rocky?
Close, but actually no.
Is it what's that girl that's been popping up?
Cardi B.
Is it Cardi B?
That's actually closer, but no.
Is it Ariana Grande?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Nah.
I'll give you a hint. He's a candy rapper.
Candy rapper?
Yeah. He's not Skittles. He's not Reese's. I'm talking about the one, the only Eminem.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking about Mr. Shady himself, the slimmest of Shadys. Little known fact, he was on the 1999 Warped Tour as a main stage headliner. And here's the reason why I see him being a popular in Detroit. First of all, he loves Detroit.
Yes.
That's the biggest and the only reason you actually need. But let me give you the second reason, and I'm going to deviate from the Warped Tour if I can, just for half a second. So count to half
Go
a
for
second.
it, yeah.
My half a second's over, so count to half a second several more times, because if you were to take a step away from the Warped Tour and look at the other big music festivals that have been popping up around the country, I'm thinking a la Governor's Ball, I'm thinking a la Firefly, Bonnaroo, our backyard Chella.
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza, as of the recording of this, has not been announced, so we don't know, but of the 4 major music festivals just mentioned, they have a common headliner, and that's one Mr. Slim Shady. So if you're going to
He stood up?
He did stood up. He did stood up.
He did stood up.
He did stood up, man.
Hashtag he did stood up.
He did stood up, and I think he's going to stood up for Detroit.
Detroit Warped Tour.
He's gonna represent his hood because that's just what he's doing.
Yeah.
All the big tours are booking him for.
Yeah, he might as well, right?
Yeah. So that's.
He's like, well, I was on Warped Tour that one time, and it's going to my hometown. Yeah, I could jump on it.
They're gonna reach out to him, and he gonna be like, I can't stand up for that. I did stood up for that. I stood up for that.
I stood up for that.
He just released an album recently, Revival, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
But
I heard his new stuff is meh.
Yeah, I could live without it.
He just needs to do. If he does Warped Tour, he definitely just needs to do old school.
Yeah.
You know.
He needs to lose himself again.
Rap God. Yeah, he does need to lose himself again.
But no, that's who I had. I had a couple California bands as well, but I think that you already know who they are. So if you want to go ahead.
Well, for our date, it's if I'm gonna interrupt you because I do know who
yes.
we think we are for our date at least. Is that we think for the Mountain View date? So any old school punkers out there, be prepared because you heard it here first. For the Mountain View Warped Tour date, Green Day. Green Day, I think, will be the special headliner that only does the Mountain View date. Because even though, you know, they're more Berkeley, San Francisco, Mountain View is the closest thing they're gonna get. Also, I believe they were on Warped Tour at some point
in the year 2000.
So they have a history with Warped Tour, and they love the Bay. They love why would they not?
And to support your last statement, they did make their roots in a local venue in the Berkeley, also known as the 924 Gilman Street.
Yes.
And in 2015, us here in the Northern Bay Area, or rather just the Bay Area, we suffered from a catastrophe. Oakland fires were pretty much burning us down. And to raise money for that, they had a relief for that. Green Day played a pop-up show, or surprise, secret, non-announced show, if you will, at the 924 Gilman. And what that tells me is that they have a sense of who they are. They have not forgotten where they have come from. They know their roots. So, going off of what you said, they love the Bay. They love the Bay. I can 100% back your reasoning for why Green Day can and will and should be.
If they do play, and they are listening to this, I mean, they're not, but if they did, they're totally listening to all the bands we mentioned today are in the tags, and they're totally all listening to what we have to say. Green Day, if you're listening to this, please play American Idiot and Dookie mostly. Like the new stuff, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not gonna hate or anything like that, but that's what people on Warped Tour are gonna want to hear. They're gonna want to hear Dookie, and they're gonna want to hear American Idiot, and they're gonna want to hear the old stuff, obviously. So.
And you can ignore that because I personally love Revolution Radio. I think it's impressive how as a band for almost 2 decades now, you guys are still breathing. See what I did there? And I would love to do Revolution Radio, if only for me. So if you want to just do that for me, if you just want to do that for me on the side. So after your show, I can come to your meet and greet, and then you can do some songs from that. That would be fine. I would accept that.
They do an acoustic set?
I would accept that. Ordinary Day is one of my, Ordinary World is my favorite song off of that album. I would not mind that at all. You had
a couple for the Southern California dates though, right? That I did not have.
And by a couple, there's one big one, aka the Blink 182.
The Blink.
Yeah.
And they were definitely on Warped Tour. They have a song about Warped Tour. Blink 182.
They couldn't wait for the Warped Tour.
Come out to Warped Tour. Find your girl at the rock show again.
And the thing is, it's cool because their last album was called California, almost as a tribute to California. So if anything, come to the California dates.
How old is Blink 182 now? As a band?
As a band.
Yeah.
I was about to say. That's a good question. I'd say early 90s, so in their 20s or older than me, probably.
Because if they're 23, that would also be a good way to come back. Because they can all come ask everybody at Warped Tour. What's my age again?
Oh man, that's good. You're good. You really get, this was not prepared. I hope you guys know this material, these
song lyric puns.
Those lyric puns, they're coming out of nowhere. They're coming out of the back pocket, and those back pockets were empty at the beginning of this recording. You guys need to know that.
And I have a couple dark horses in my back pocket too, not for this, but for a different thing.
All right. Well, the Blink 182, I could totally see them if San Diego, but I would appreciate that if it was all of California, because I would not mind seeing Blink 182.
They're definitely a last, end of the show headliner, though.
Yeah.
I don't know where. Do you know where Day to Remember is from? Because I could see them being a top headliner somewhere.
Florida.
So I could see them in Florida being a top headliner. I don't know if they'll be on the whole tour. They're one of those bands that I could see on a majority of the tour if they're not already doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. But if anything, I could see them on the Florida tour.
And it's cool because there's, at least with these type of bands that have long lives, the anniversaries mean something for their big albums and for them as a band. A Day to Remember will be,
that's
or
right,
if they are not already, 15 years old.
Yeah.
And 15 is a nice little celebration number. And there's been rumors that there's going to be a big name guest in Florida, A Day to Remember. And just to put this on the side, I was doing a little bit on the computer research.
Some hacking.
Some hacking. Not necessarily hacking, but
he hacked the Warped Tour systems.
So I know exactly everything I'm saying is 100% true.
You could believe it.
You could put money on Eminem.
I'm gonna have to put the little tiny words on the screen. That's like the disclaimer.
No. This is 100% fact.
Oh, okay.
There was a user on the Twitter universe who was talking about support.
Was it an egg face? It was an egg face, right?
I don't know, because I didn't actually see the picture. I heard it from someone who heard it from someone.
Because that's totally different.
Who heard it from one more person.
Okay.
And they said, hey, something Warped Tour. Kevin Lyman, producer, looked at this, replied to that comment, and said, oh, something, lineups are already confirmed, lineups are already booked, it's just a matter of us releasing it to you. By the way, you might be happy with some of the band, or some of the acts and some of the bands that we have for you. And
who did he say this to?
He said this to a user on
Okay,
Twitter.
just a specific,
He said, I looked at your profile and you'll be happy with the lineup. And on his profile, there's 4 bands worth mentioning. He said, I scanned your profile, I'm sure you're gonna love the bands on this tour. A Day to Remember was in his username.
Okay.
So that's heavily rumored. A Day to Remember might be there. On his little Twitter profile, 3 more bands were there. Paramore, Beartooth, Neck Deep.
Beartooth I could definitely see. Neck Deep, I only think it's a stretch because they were just on last year.
You could put money that one of those 4 bands is going to be on that list of bands to look out for come lineup time.
At least one.
At least one. Confirmed. Put money on that right now. Take away that little disclaimer that you see on the bottom. That is money in the bank.
Money.
A Day to Remember. That would be... you know what? Paramore, Neck Deep, Beartooth. I didn't really listen to Beartooth, but I listened to Paramore.
They're not your kind of band.
I listened to Neck Deep a lot. But if I had to pick one of those 4, I'd have to go 82R. Because you have to. They're the bigger band. And if they were to play the final...
They had consecutive Warped Tours as well.
If they were to play the final Warped Tour, whether it's the... What do you call it? Whatever date you go to, whether you're in Florida, whether you're in California, if they play that final Warped Tour, you know you're going to go there. And you're going to experience a Day to Remember.
Ah! Wow.
I got some of those too.
Damn. Good. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did way more research than I did.
I did a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I just did a little bit, you know? You guys don't see me, but I put my fingers and my index and my thumb to indicate a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
All right. Well, with that, since we've already talked about some of the bigger bands, the special headliners, let's go down to the regular bands. Let's go down to who we think are going to be on the tour. Let's start with who you'd like to see. These are people that you don't necessarily think are going to be on the Warped Tour, but you would like to see them on the Warped Tour.
Unfortunately, everything I say is 100% true. So
this is an accurate prediction. The Warriors getting another NBA ring this year.
That's accurate. Put money on that.
That's an accurate statement.
There you go. See? You and me speaking the same language. Alright, so am I starting this one off, or are you going to start this one off?
Let's do a 1 and a 1. So one for you because you're the guest. So.
Oh, I appreciate that. I guess I could start off with the top, because that's a good place to start, right?
I like it from the bottom, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because we started from the bottom, now we're here. So you have to start at the bottom and then go here.
I don't know, man. I start at the bottom. I feel like I'm still there. So this band was on Warped Tour several times, 9 total, and they're pretty legendary in the Warped Tour world. And unfortunately, I missed them when they came up to Mountain View, and they were there. I just miss them. So I would love to see Less Than Jake to appear on this final run.
Is that your top of the top? That's your number one who you'd like to see?
That's just the one I feel like is the most likely.
Okay.
Because, again, a lot of these bands, there have been several bands that have support from the producers of the Warped Tour. Less Than Jake is one of those other
Less Than Jake
musts.
is definitely one of them, for sure.
But unfortunately, here's the thing. Even though that they feel like there's a must, you feel like you have to put them, I feel like they'll still draw a large crowd because it's impressive. Their long run as musicians, as a band, they will be completing their Europe tour at the beginning of the Warped Tour. So if they were to be on the Warped Tour, we would be, as Californians, be missing them, unfortunately. But I think Less Than Jake has a very good chance, and if I can't see them, I want other people to not have to experience what I went through, what I'm going through, and what I will go through.
We can go up to the Seattle date at the end of the Warped Tour.
Oh, okay.
So for my first one, and I am dealing in a lot of younger bands because that's just what I've been into, obviously. So I'm going to start at the lower level of the list, and don't get me wrong, this doesn't discredit the band at all. But I have seen them twice in the last 2 years, so that's why they're a little bit lower on the list. But I did discover them through Warped Tour last year, and they're actually a band that I got mistaken for being in on Warped Tour. You could say the person that mistaked me for them lost his mind in California, essentially. This is the White Noise from LA. I recently learned, because I've talked to a couple of them, I believe the bassist name is Jake. But either way, I was talking to him at their show recently at Slim's in the city. With
San Francisco City?
Yes,
okay.
With Stray from the Path and Anti-Flag.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how a lot of them actually moved to LA from Texas area.
Okay.
So, and a lot of them actually still live in Texas and just come out to LA to like record and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, but as a band, officially, I think on all their social media and stuff, they are a quote-unquote LA band. Mm-hmm. With that said, I also saw at their Slim's concert that they're gaining they're definitely gaining more of a fan base. I can tell they're picking up steam. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that, because last year I felt like it was their crowd wasn't big enough, mm-hmm. in my opinion.
They were definitely on one of the smaller stages.
And the crowd was definitely way more small.
Yeah.
Even if they just end up on the Full Sail stage, I think that's an upgrade. And I also think that they will draw enough people to have like a good little crowd at the Full Sail stage. So that's my pick. That's my first pick for who I would like to see. Because they put on a good show, and I like them, and they're my friends. Or, well, I've made...
They're your bandmates.
Yeah.
Your fellow bandmates.
Yeah, that's right. I made friends with the guys, so I would love to see them come out for the last Warped Tour, because they were on just last year. So for them going from last year to coming onto this one and being like, whoa, we played right before the last one.
Yeah.
If they could play the last one as well, that would... But they're also on tour currently right now, so doing another, like you said, kind of almost back-to-back. They definitely said after the tour that they were on recently that they're going back to recording, so I don't know if that means that they're not going to be touring at all or what that means for them. But
if we're going down the list again, I'm just going to keep going down. I should have done what you did, going from the bottom to the up.
Yeah.
I'm going with the most likely to the least likely.
Okay.
So while I feel like Less Than Jake... Oh, wait. I'm like, all 5 of these are going to be off. That's right. I'm a prophet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So Less Than Jake has a very good chance. And I think that this next band also has a very big chance. And in order to get this band to get booked, all you need is... You don't need to do anything difficult. You don't need to do anything confusing. All you need is a simple plan. And I can 100% see Simple Plan being as one of those headliner main stage for the finality of the Warped Tour run.
But as like a whole tour, like
I can see them as a whole tour,
okay.
whole tour, because their most recent one was 2015, and that coincided with their most recent album.
They're the ones 'cause I'm in too deep now.
That's me shaking my head. That's me shaking my head, not a little bit, just some. No, some. I'm shaking.
Some.
I'm shaking it 41 times.
So it's not them.
No, it's not.
Okay, what is their big hit from back in the day?
Well, their biggest album, or at least in my opinion, my favorite album, No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls.
Is it hold on, I'm probably still wrong, but I'm going to sing another song and see if it's that one.
Go ahead.
I don't want to waste my time, become another casualty of okay. All those bands from back in the day, they kind of just sound the same.
What would you do for me to tell you one of their songs? Would you do anything just to hold you? No?
No.
How about, how could this happen to me?
I do know that one.
I'm sorry, I can't be heard.
I don't know that one.
You don't know that one?
I know the second one you said.
I'm addicted to... Oh my gosh.
There was only like one or two Sum 41 songs on
my
Rock
gosh.
Band.
This isn't Sum 41. This is Simple Plan. Simple Plan was the joke.
Oh, that's why...
Simple Plan is the
oh, no, see, well, you talked about Sum 41, so I thought it was Sum 41.
No, I said you need a Simple Plan, and then he said, is it In Too Deep? And I said, no, that's Sum 41.
You shook your head 41 times. I thought we were talking about... So I was right about who I thought it was.
No. I said Simple Plan, and then you sang a Sum 41 song.
No, but you said... Then after you said Sum 41, I was like, oh, yeah, that.
Yes.
So I was right in thinking...
In Too Deep is Sum 41.
Okay. Let's move on.
Yes.
Simple Plan.
Simple Plan has played the tour not once, not twice. I'm going to need two hands and something else because they played 11 times.
Wow.
And they once played for a 7-year stretch between 1999 through 2005.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I don't know if those are both Warped Tour records, 11 years total, 7 years consecutively, but that right there tells me they're a Warped Tour pioneer. One bigger probably than anyone. So with that being said, why would you not put Warped Tour's biggest pioneer to help drive the final Warped Tour home? They have celebrated their 15th anniversary of No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls, their first big breakout album, in 2017. And, bands with their anniversaries. It's just good. It's just fun. I could 100% see Simple Plan being on the finale of the tour.
But not Sum 41.
Not Sum 41, unfortunately. Sorry.
All right.
You mentioned Sum 41 again. I'm going to punch you in the face. Give you a fat
41
lip.
times?
No.
Some?
I'll give you a fat
Some of 41?
You ruined the joke already. It's fine.
Okay, moving on. So my second band, which I'm not sure how well you know them, but they were just on the Graveyard Shift tour with Motionless in White last year, into this year. So I think it cut into January a little bit. Is the Amity Affliction?
I've heard of them.
Who are you? Yes, because I like them a lot. I would love to see them a second time. I did see them on the Graveyard Shift tour. But I would love to see them again, and I think Warped Tour is the perfect place for that. I think they have a big draw on places like Tumblr and stuff like that, which is people who would come out to the show. I could see them on a side stage. Not necessarily, not the really small stages, not even the Full Sail stage. One of the metal-esque side stages, not main stage, unfortunately. But yeah, I would really like to see them. I don't really have a whole lot to...
The Amity Affliction?
Amity Affliction.
Amity Affliction. I'm saying it enough times because if I say it enough times, it's going to come true. I think, what's the magic number, 41? I think 40, if I say this...
Is that going to be the running joke for this whole...
Amity Affliction.
Amity Affliction.
Oh, if you say it too, that counts twice.
Well, no, mine is I have to say it. Yours is you just predict everything anyways.
Oh, okay.
So you don't even need to.
You call me Lost Prophets.
Yeah.
They're not on this list that I'm trying to...
So that is my second pick.
Not Lost Prophets.
So what's your third pick?
My third pick? And again, going down the list of most likely to just totally outrageous, this is the last of the three that I'm going to say that are...
I kind of did the same thing.
They're pretty much locks. I feel less than Jake. I feel Simple Plan is a lock. And go ahead and start the drums. It's... Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Mayday Parade is the third band that I have.
Oh, totally.
I 100%... Well, I mean, again, going back to this common theme, anniversaries. A Lesson to Romantic last year celebrated their 10th anniversary. Jamie All Over. Woo! That's a... You didn't see me, but I did one of those things. They're also...
Celebrating in their Warped Tour
They're also celebrating an anniversary. And it's just one of those bands that they have a good relationship with the producers of Warped
So this
Tour.
one's a lock. You think that, like, for sure?
I think the first three I mentioned are locks.
Okay.
I know the first three I mentioned are locks. I would like to see them, so I will see them.
I was gonna say one from what I think is on the lower part of your list, but I'm gonna let it ride and see if it comes out of you.
Okay. We'll see if I eliminated it just through conversation.
Yeah, but if it doesn't come up, I'll bring it up.
Oh, okay, you bring it up. Mayday Parade, Simple Plan, and I have Less Than Jake. So number 3, Pass the Ball.
Okay, so mine is this band. It's a little band from New York. They would be on the Full Sail stage and/or one of the smaller stages for sure. But they're friends of mine. I have a friend in the band, and I would really like to see him. The only reason I'm not including it in local bands because it's not local to us, and I'm kind of hoping I see them go like the whole tour, not just at our location kind of thing. And that is the band Jinx.
Oh, okay.
JYNX from New York.
What's a Pokemon?
They
I'm sorry.
I mean they're all nerds, so I'm sure they took it from that. But they play kind of like. Do you remember last year you and I you caught because you were done with most of the bands at about 2 or 3.
3:30 I think was my last band.
So do you remember that band that they were an actual band, like a kind of a metal band, but they had a hype man on stage?
I want to say yes.
Siler.
Yes, I remember Siler.
They're kind of like that kind of band.
Oh, nice.
So I hope to see them on there. Just plus the something I'll bring up later, merch stuff. Mr. Frank from Cat Clothing was actually used to be in a different band with the guitarist that I'm friends with in Jinx.
Okay.
So if they were both on Warped Tour, that would be pretty cool.
That'd be what?
That'd be
pretty cool. Jinx.
Damn it. That'd be. Hey, that's pretty good.
Oh man, you got me.
So yeah, that's my fourth pick. Unfortunately third pick. Just because I think they're pretty unlikely to happen, just because of everything they're already doing, and also how small they are. I love them, but I don't think I'm going to see them for at least a year or two. Come out to the West Coast.
The next two I had on my list they're also locks, but I don't want to.
But they're less of a lock.
No, I mean they're also locks, but you're giving me such hot takes that I feel bad that I'm just giving all this positive prophecy. So I mean I'm gonna tell you right now, the next two on my list were We the Kings and the Men.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not the you missed out on one that I thought you were going to talk about.
But here's the thing. I don't want to talk about them because throughout the duration of this conversation, I'm actually going to switch the two because you're bringing the hot. I got to bring the hot too. So I'm going to kind of do an audible, and I'm going to mention another band that I would like to see, but they're not a lock like We the Kings and the Men are. So unfortunately, my prophecy ends here. You can lock We the Kings and the Men as well as Mayday, Jake, and Simple Plan. But here's who I like to see. They're a band called Saint. S-A-I.
Oh, I think you've talked to me about that.
N-T-E, formerly known as We Are the In Crowd. Now, We Are the In Crowd has played Warped Tour not once, not twice, but 3 times, and they're pretty sceney. Is that a word? Hashtag sceney. We just made that up right now.
They're there for the scene kids?
Yeah. They broke up in 2016, which is unfortunate because they also were one of those bands that had a pretty nice every other year run. And 2016 would have been that every other year until they broke up. And
they broke the streak.
Yeah, they broke the streak, and they became Sainty. All they really did was they lost 2 of their founding members.
Okay.
And the vocalist,
you know how that goes.
Yeah, the vocalist, Tay Jardine, and they got the basses and the guitars, and they created a new project. And it already sucks being a female lead band, constantly getting comparisons to Paramore just because you're a female lead singer. And imagine the comparisons they got when they lost 2 of their original members, became a trio, to become a band that focuses more on the lead singer's voice. So the Paramore, what do you call it?
The Paramore paradox?
Paramore paradox. I mean, the references, there's just so many there. There's a Paramore references you can make with that band. Just by the way they're reacting. They're a little bit more alt, a little bit more indie. They have more synths in their sound, but
it's crappy. But I feel like if you have a band that's like an actual band, it has drums and bass and guitar, and you have a female vocalist who's any bit like poppy and not like a different like a more folky sound or something like that, you're probably gonna get compared to Paramore. And I'm sorry I feel bad that people do that, because obviously everybody wants to be like, oh, we're our own thing. But at the same time, like, it's...
Paramore's a great band. If you're getting compared to Paramore, that's...
It's just what happens.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's unfortunate, but it's what happens. And, but for them to also have the coincidence of losing 2 of their band, do you know which band members it was?
They have the bassist and the guitarist still. So
they lost a guitarist and a drummer, which is exactly what Paramore lost. They lost the drummer and a guitarist. So to have that happen is just super coincidental and unfortunate.
The slight difference that We Are the In-Crowd had than Paramore is that they did have 2 vocalists, but the male vocalist was one of the guitarists that dropped out.
Okay.
So they
lost that.
It's just one female vocalist now with 2 people. There's a little, again, more synth popier, but
and more comparison.
I couldn't find any tour information on this band at all, ever in their history.
For Saint, you mean?
For Saint. I want to check them out when I discovered them as a band, and I just did not see when they played, where they're going to play. So, is the Warped Tour a nice debut? If it wasn't the last Warped Tour, then probably. But since it is the last one, I don't know if there's room for them. That doesn't mean I don't want to see them, though.
Understandable. So, I actually worked my way backwards. So the next 2, I think, are... The next one is a possible lock. I'm going to put it on like a 70-30
I could say it so that
scale.
Would be locked.
I don't know if I want it locked that bad, but like it's definitely a 70-30, 75-25 kind of deal. I'm pretty sure they could be on the main stage, and I think a lot of people would be happy about it. Or they could be on the bigger metal side stage, because last year Carnifex was on, and Carnifex is a pretty big metal band. This is Thy Art Is Murder. They have been gaining traction since their second album, and their third and fourth album, their third album Holy War, and their newest album have definitely been popping off, not just with people who you would consider mainstream death metal people, but like anybody who's into goth or dark or like metal, anything metal, like all those, a vast majority of them are into Thy Art Is Murder. And that's why I think they would be a good pick to drop on a metal side stage. The bigger metal side stage is like one of the last bands to play. And then because I have a dark horse that I'd like to mention that I don't at all. He's like, it's like 1% that he would even be there. But I'm gonna do the same thing that you did, where I pop through the next person who I think is a lock, and I really hope is a lock. So you could say them, okay? Because I'd love to see them.
Who do we got?
Parkway Drive.
Parkway Drive. You heard it here first. Parkway Drive.
Parkway Drive.
Lock it in.
On the main stage. I would like to see them on the main stage. I think they have enough drawing power, and they haven't been on the West Coast in I think about 2 or 3 years. They've also been on multiple Warped Tours. I believe they've been on 2 or 3. And yeah, what a way to come back to the West Coast after such a long hiatus, than to come back on the last Warped Tour.
Right, there you go.
So that would be that, and then the dark horse pick. This one, you and me are going to have a conversation about this really quick.
So do you want me to say my last pick first?
Yes.
Okay. And while you were talking, I changed my last pick.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm looking through my list and I'm thinking, there's no way that Lights is going to ever perform.
Was she not on a Warped Tour before?
She did a month in 2009.
Because she used to date, I don't know if she still is, but she used to date the vocalist for Bless the Fall or something like that, right?
She's dating a vocalist. I forgot the vocalist name, but and by date I mean married with a child. Right?
Yeah.
So it was a band. I can't remember off the top of my head who she dated / married / had a child with, but it was a band. But the only reason I bring that up is because she performed in 2009, and I want to tell you here during this conversation, do you know who else performed in 2009? You will not see this coming. I'll tell you a hint. It rhymes with Cash Cash. Cash Cash with a 2009.
It rhymes with Cash Cash.
That's the only reason I'm bringing up Lights right now, so I can segue into that.
So you don't want Lights to play?
I would love to have Lights play. I have a whole little section of reasons why I think she should and why I would like to see her. But just
look, I was right. She's married to Bo Boken from Bless the Fall.
Bless the Fall, there you go.
And they play Warped Tour a lot, so I could see her on just because it's the last one and she's married to Bo Boken. So.
And the reason why I'm not talking about Lights is because I want to hear what you have to say, and I have a lot to say about Lights. So I'm going to put Lights in the side pocket. She's not going to perform. It's unfortunate. I'd love to see her, but Rome.
Acoustic set.
Rome. R-O-A-M.
Rome? Just Rome.
Just Rome.
Not Rome with...
we came as Romans, not...
Sublime with Rome?
Not Sublime with Rome, just Rome.
Okay.
I have nothing else to say about them other than I like the last album.
Okay.
Kind of cool. I'd like to see them.
Okay.
Nothing else. I have no proof, no facts, nothing about them.
So wait,
go?
we're gonna have a conversation
yes.
about mine, but we can start off with lights a little bit.
I already put it on the side, but I can go ahead
No,
and
go
grab her.
pull it out of the pocket.
Pull it back out.
Acoustic set.
Okay.
They have the acoustic tent. She could totally play just an acoustic set.
Cactus in the Valley is one of my favorite acoustic songs from her. So I would, and she does have an acoustic album.
Yeah.
Several acoustic songs. She's matured from just pure synth pop. So now she's a little bit more diverse as a singer and as a songwriter. And the biggest reason why, because earlier in the year, before this was announced as the final Warped Tour had a survey of 5 people who you want to see, and Lights was one of those people I wanted to submit. And the reason why is because she just released a new album, Skin and Earth, in which it's not just an album that portrays a young heroine. If
it's a girl.
Yeah, it's a heroine. And throughout the duration of this album, it's a song of her journey. And I don't know exactly what the conflict is, but it's a story. And alongside these songs on the album, she released a comic to accompany each song. So there's a comic that was released with the album that tells the story of this young heroine. And each song has its own little chapter in the comic storyline. And I think that there's a lot of mainstream, or rather pop acts that come from the Warped Tour, and this pop act could bring in a slightly different crowd to the Warped Tour, but a crowd that I feel like it still blend in to the crowd that Warped Tour is trying to attract and portray.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I really want to see Life. For that, pretty much that reason alone, the fact that she was able to take the musicality, make a, what do you call it, comic book side
like a
story,
concept album, basically.
Concept album with a concept story. She has a solid American following, but the reason why
she's married to Bo Boken,
who,
bless the fall, will almost certainly be on Warped Tour.
And we had mentioned,
you can quote me on that.
We had mentioned earlier that there will be a Canadian stop at the Warped Tour. I forget where from Canada she's from, but
Canada. Right.
Am I right or am I right? And plus, she has strong ties to Perverse. Perverse?
Yeah, I believe it's Perverse.
I think she toured with Perverse recently, and Perverse has nice ties with the Vans Warped Tours. So.
Just as a weird side note, speaking of weird pop, synth pop acts or whatever that could be on Warped Tour, it probably not. I'll say probably not. But Tegan and Sarah, I could see them dropping on Warped Tour for a little bit.
Didn't they, and I love my anniversaries, didn't they just celebrate their 10th anniversary of The Con or whatever album that was from?
I'm not super into them. I've just listened to a few songs, so I don't know.
Okay.
But, so, for our big argument here,
that wasn't it?
Our big discussion.
Alright, tell me what you got.
My dark horse pick.
Alright. Stop teasing me.
Main stage, of course. Okay. I don't know if he's going to I don't know if he's gonna headline or if he's gonna just play during the day.
Okay.
But I could see him headlining.
All right.
And he is on. I don't think he'll be on the whole tour, but I think he might come out to California dates / wherever he's from.
Can you please stop teasing me?
No. Wherever he's from, he could just stop on that one day, maybe. And that is because he's already on
oh my god!
Because he's already on I think he's already on 2 or 3 different big festivals already this year. That is Mr. Post Malone.
Oh, Post Malone. Okay.
Kendrick is way too big for Warped Tour.
Oh, Post Malone.
Post Malone isn't quite big enough to be out. Not to mention he used to
he's been part of a screamo band.
Exactly. He wanted to play in a death metal band or a screamo band. I think I heard a rumor from a friend of mine that he supposedly tried out for Crown the Empire, who have been on Warped Tour. Mm-hmm. So, dark horse, Post Malone.
I like it. I feel like I was supposed to not like it, but I like that pick.
Could you see the people that he would draw
out of nowhere? Because here's the thing. A question that I thought of myself that I didn't address because I couldn't figure out the answer is, who's a rapper? Who's a hip-hop artist? If you
that can be on Warped Tour.
Because, unfortunately, you have to, and you can call this as calling out or pointing out, or maybe just me being ignorant, who's a non-threatening hip-hop /
You
rapper?
could have a threatening rapper. We've had Mr.
Waka Flocka,
Waka Flocka, the vegan. may I add?
There you go.
The vegan Waka
There you
Flocka.
go.
Or, well, Machine Gun Kelly isn't threatening anymore. He used to be, but he isn't
They're
anymore.
not threatening. And
Waka Flocka's threatening.
And
still.
looking back at
He's scary.
Listen. I mean, at the same time,
I'm not saying like he's a tall guy. He looks like he can kick my ass.
Listen. At the same time, Eminem formed, and he was pretty threatening in 1999. So I guess I can't really say that, but I think they learned their lesson after that because
he only played the 1 year.
We had who are some other hip hop acts to come? I see G-Eazy being a Warped Tour veteran. I see
who's that guy you saw last year?
Who's the guy? Futuristic,
and he is not threatening at all.
Oh no! I mean, I'm not
puff
calling him bad.
Pass, my dudes.
I'm not calling them bad, but come on,
not
man.
threatening at all.
Because the closest I could think of, and I don't want to spend too much time about on this one, because Post Malone's a very good pick. I don't want to take anything away from that. And the only reason I'm bringing this name up is because I think you might have been one of the first people to name this name to me. But as my non-threatening rapper, I actually did put NF.
He's popping off.
He's famous enough to draw a crowd, but not famous enough to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
He has that Christian rapper background, so that fits the non-threatening mold.
But he goes hard, and he has the.
But he goes hard. He spits rhymes, and
he can appeal to the edgy white kids.
The angsty, I hate life because I had sucky parents.
White kids.
So yeah. So I had net F, but honestly, Post Malone might make more sense. Unfortunately, or fortunately. I mean, who's...
Plus, he's a rock star, dude.
Oh, there you go. See, exactly.
He feels like a rock star.
He's a rock star. You just go up to him, say, congratulations.
Yeah, right.
But at the end of the set, he's gonna fall apart, and because he's a White Iverson. I'm just naming. I wanted something more coherent, but you caught me so off guard with that.
Something candy paint.
Candy paint in the flower shop.
Okay. I thought it was the white on top.
Candy paint and the white on top.
Lamborghini
and the ooh-wop drop.
He'll if you're talking shit, he's gonna get that he's gonna swat. He's gonna get you swat.
You gonna swat?
Yeah.
That's a very man, I did not see that.
Candy Paint is my favorite Post Malone song.
I have to agree with you. That's a nice flow. Yeah.
Candy Paint with the white.
Has a nice Office reference.
Yes.
That's.
Oh yeah. He loves paper like he's Michael Scott.
Post Malone. I'm sorry if you wanted me to disagree with you.
I thought you would.
I full on support that idea.
I think it's a very possible, like, because he seems like the weird, like, just I've seen him in interviews and stuff like that. He seems like the weird, like down, like just really chill guy. Where if they went and talked to him, they're like, hey, you want to play Warped Tour? He'd be like, yeah, let's do it.
Love to.
And even if they didn't offer him like as much as he'd usually get, I could see him being like, they were like, it's the last one. You're this big new artist. We kind of want to end it off on a good note. I could see him being like, yeah.
I can
Especially in his. Do you know where his hometown is? Because I know he's not from California.
He's from the White Iverson town. No, but he's actually from the good old state. What do you call it? It's the one that starts with
Texas.
The one that starts with New York.
He's from New York.
Yeah.
So I could.
Starts with a Y.
At the very least, I could see him hanging in New York.
Yeah.
Maybe LA because obviously he lives in LA. So why wouldn't he do an LA date?
He probably went to Warped Tour growing up.
Yeah, I could see. Let's just look at him. Of course he did.
If you wanted to be in a screamo band, then
yeah. So that was my dark horse
pick.
That
was a good pick. I'm sorry, I was supposed to disagree with you, but
no, it's fine. I'm interested that you are. One thing you have to promise me though, because we're going. Obviously, if you guys couldn't tell, we're going to Warped Tour.
I thought about it and he convinced me.
Yeah, it took a little bit of convincing. I had to poke and prod a little bit. But no, if we go and Post Malone is there or any bigger rap act, I'll just say any bigger rap act. I don't care what other band's playing. We're going to go see them.
Hey,
I missed out on Waka Flocka Flame last year.
2 years ago.
And that could have been like I've heard that was like the hypest show at the Warped Tour. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
So I'm not missing out. Like there's gonna be a bunch of bands that I've probably already seen and I love them and I'd like to see them again. But if they're running into whoever the main stage hip hop artist is, not that I'm super into hip hop. It's a Warped Tour and there's giant hip hop band. I gotta see it. It's just one of those things. You know what I mean? especially Post Malone, because I actually like Post Malone. I would love to see Post Malone on stage. So yeah.
Cool.
So the next thing, let's see here.
We're seeing. What do you see there?
Bands I think I'll see. So you already went through. You pretty much said it with the bands that you.
I went with the selected dates.
No, you said these are bands I want to see, but also I'm pretty sure they're a lock for.
Oh, I have a whole nother list of bands I think I'm gonna see.
Let's try and pop through it really fast here.
All right.
This time I'll start.
Cool.
Amity Affliction, easy pick. I think they're actually going to be on Warped Tour.
All right. Okay.
That's literally it. That's all I had to say.
Are you gonna popcorn this one then?
No, well, because I already talked about the Amity Affliction, so I don't have to talk about them again.
All right. So I'm not gonna mention this one because I know you're gonna mention this one, but that leads to this one. So I guess I could. You know what? If I'm gonna forget it,
Just say it.
Real Friends.
Okay. I would love that.
They implied at their last recent show about.
Have they been on Warped Tour before?
A couple years.
Okay.
The most recent one, 2016. They had a holiday show.
We didn't see them in 2016. Damn.
I
know you weren't really into them at the time. I wasn't that into pop punk at the time either.
They at one of their more recent winter shows, they shouted out to the crowd. They said, "Oh, come back!" And they said, "We'll see you next summer." So that's a heavy rumor that, hey, why are you gonna?
But is it confirmed?
It's not confirmed.
By Kish.
I mean, by Kish, yeah, it's confirmed.
Is it confirmed?
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna have to have like a warning sign on the screen every time. Kish confirmed, just big flashing lights.
Friends, that why would you say see you next summer if you're already on tour promoting whatever you're doing?
Yeah.
Unless you're promoting a new album that's already in the no,
they're gonna be on tour.
I feel like we're gonna see them next summer at the Warped Tour.
For sure. Okay. So my next pick, and it's a really, again, it's not something I have to talk about. I don't really need to say a whole lot about them. Asking Alexandria. I could see Asking Alexandria on Warped Tour, and the majority of it. They're a big band. They've been on Warped Tour before.
I can see it.
Like, what else do I have to say? They're a big band. They've been on Warped Tour before. Why would they not jump on the last one? Mm-hmm. If they play their old stuff, I'll be into that because I was a little scene kid in high school, or a little emo kid who liked Asking Alexandria in high school, had the T-shirt and everything. If they played off their first or second album, I'd be into it.
That's not the name I wanted you to say, so now I still have to bounce around my list because that leads to that, which leads to that. So I guess I'm just going to say, for, again, no reason at all, Knuckle Puck.
Knuckle Puck. Well, David, the only reason I disagree with you is because they were just on a tour that we caught.
Yes. And
they're already on another tour, so that we're going to try and go see at the end of... Is it the end of April or the end of March? The end of March. So we're gonna try and go see them at the end of March. So for them to go on another tour like only a couple months after this one, that's bands do it, but it's just it's hard for me to. Well, they did just record that album the new album that they have just came out, right?
Shapeshifter.
That just came out.
Yes.
So them jumping on Warped Tour, I guess, makes sense if they're gonna try and promote Shapeshifter. Is that all you had to say about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm waiting for you to mention the band that I have written out.
So here's one that I'm pretty sure is going to be on. I don't necessarily want to see them, but I will say I got into one more of their songs, so I guess it would be okay. Because I'm pretty much gonna. I think you and I are gonna be following each other around a lot of the day. We might split up here and there, but we have a decent amount of people in common that we want to see. Water Parks.
Now that's the band that you could 100% put your money on. Water Parks, possibly the biggest trending act in the scene. If I had $100 on me and there was a Vegas booth saying, "Hey, Water Parks going to be at Warped Tour," I'd put $1,000 on that. That is the one thing. I know I've been saying it all day. Everything I'm saying is fact.
But they don't.
No, this is fact.
They're so done with fun though, dude. Like, so why would they want to go on Warped Tour?
They might have dyed their hair. They might not be blonde.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
No, he did. It's purple, remember?
See? So the blondes are done with fun, but the purple hair people are done with
fun. I don't know.
And it's like you said, they just released a new album, so why would they not want to promote that album on a Warped Tour? They're too big to not be on the main stage of Warped Tour.
It's all about Warped Tour, man. It's all about you.
Warped Tour.
Those ones didn't work, but that's the only other song I know by them. So.
And I could 100% see, and the reason why I wanted you to bring that up, not just to show my 100% support that will be an act. Not my. It will. For
sure.
I know.
100%.
I know. Like, put me up on a lie detector and see if I know.
Okay.
Again, I put $1,000 on it, and if I had more than that, I would.
Okay.
Water parks will be on 2018 Warped Tour. I can't be more sure than that. The main stage.
Okay. Really?
Oh, left or right? That's a good question.
You think they're going to be on main stage?
The left foot or the right foot?
You think they draw enough for main stage?
Do I think they draw enough? I think the answer is yes.
Dude, when we saw them at the UC, I feel like their crowd wasn't big enough for a main stage.
I see them on the main stage.
I could see them on Full Sail or
I could see them on main stage.
Okay, fine. Left or right?
Left or right? Okay, so...
I say left.
Oh, man, I guess I'm going to have to go right.
Right is for more of the harder bands. Left is for more of the...
Oh, you're right.
The punkier,
you're
soft
right.
bands.
No, you're left. I'm right.
I'm left.
All right. So what's left?
So, well, you can say another one if you want.
Well, the reason I wanted you to bring that up, not just to put my undying support in that statement, I read somewhere that a full concert billing is rumored to be at the Warped Tour. So what that means is, like, for example, off the top of my head, you mentioned Knuckle Puck earlier. So the Knuckle Puck they pulled with movements. So based off that assessment, you could say, oh, Knuckle Puck, movements, and all
with
the
confidence.
other bands with confidence not going to be there.
No?
100% not.
Were they on 2017? They were on 2016.
They were,
right?
They're not going to be there.
You don't think so?
I know.
Are you guaranteeing this?
Yes. I know.
Quote
so.
Kish. With confidence is not going to be there.
They're current. You don't know. They're not a band right now.
What?
They're on hiatus.
What?
We gotta take this conversation offline.
Oh,
no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Could we how do we deviate from that? So a whole concert billing will be on the Warped Tour. So with that being said, I think that concert billing will be the water parks.
I need to buy
billing.
that vinyl ASAP, dude.
So with that being said, I see everyone who toured on that water parks concert being at Warped Tour. I see water parks. I see As It Is.
As It Is.
I see Chapel. I see Sleep on It.
Okay.
I see all four of those acts being on there.
You don't think they're going to give you dial tones?
No. See, here's the reason why. We'll get to that in a second. I appreciate that. As It Is, that's a solid pick. Because that's a solid pick.
If they're the second underneath water parks,
the reason is because Sleep on It, and this goes back to another band that I wanted to. I'm sorry, I'm taking two. There's actually multiple. I said three. I'm going to say one more. I'm going to say four total. The reason why I brought that up, I want to see the likelihood of state champs going again. I want to see could we see them potentially at Warped Tour 2018 to bring home.
You think so?
And the lead guitarist for state champs, someone replied, "Hey, you guys should go touring with Sleep on It." And the lead guitarist for state champs replied to that tweet said, "Well, we will tour them in some way, shape, or form." And if I believe that the full concert billing will be at the Warped Tour, and with that tweet in mind, I'm combining all of that to be one group pick.
So state champs, water park, Sleep on It,
Chapel, As It Is. All
on one stage.
Performing at the same time, actually.
Oh, okay. All at the same time, playing different songs. So just you, and then what would state champs one be?
It'd be what's the new song? Slow Burn.
Yeah. Just another slow burn. No, not the same. Just in the slow burn. So it's all crossing over each other. Just.
That's not a slow burn. That's a very fast burn. It's gonna die out real quick.
I mean, essentially, they could all play at the same time if one plays on a main stage, one and two, or okay, so three of them can play at the same time. One plays on a main stage, one plays on the Full Sail, one plays on the lower level stage. They could technically play all at the same time. That must be, we know who that is. Should we give him dial tones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give him dial tones.
Okay.
Alright, cool. That's who I had. That's a package deal right there.
Okay.
I had to just chop
and that's it.
on his state champs.
That's all of it.
Yeah.
That's yours.
I mean, I have more, but since I said so many in that one, I'm just going to use that all as one.
Okay. So, here's one that you'll like that I'm giving it a 80 or 90% chance of happening.
Okay, do you want me to say it for it to be fact?
I mean, if you want to, it's more about you than me.
Okay.
Multiple times on Warped Tour, a band you really would enjoy. Real Big Fish.
Ooh, that's a good answer. It makes sense for them to be on it.
Right?
It really does. And
Real Big Fish.
Yep.
So you said that was a good choice.
Yeah, they're a mainstay. They started very in the early years of the Warped Tour. I think their first year was the second or third Warped Tour they started, and they played pretty regularly ever since. Every other year, every other year. You saw them. I don't know if you saw them. I'll be able to catch them after 2016, their most recent Warped Tour. It just makes sense. And I'll let you finish.
The only other
Mighty Mighty Boss Tones would be cool too.
Yeah. Well, we already saw who did we see last year?
We saw the Stacked Like Pancakes.
And
here's the cool thing. Want to hear a fun thing
Safe
about
Ferris.
Want to hear a fun fact about Safe Ferris?
What's that?
Safe Ferris has played not once, not twice, but 3 times at the Warped Tour. The first one was 98. The second one was 2001, and they took a 16-year hiatus.
From Warped Tour specifically, or from...
And they played in 2017.
I could see them
again. So the reason I want to bring that up is because we mentioned a lot of bands previously, and some of them haven't played Warped Tour in a long time. Warped Tour has proven that they will call an act
back
from way back in the day.
And I didn't think Safe Ferris had enough drawing power for main stage, but they had enough drawing power for main stage.
You could argue that was the best show of the day.
That was one of the best shows of the day for sure.
Yeah, you could argue against it, but you could argue for it.
I think Neck Deep was the best show of the day.
I mean, I didn't say it was. I said you could argue for it. Because I think the Gospel Youth was the best.
Wow. Okay. So my last one. Let me give you my last band, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna play. And I think they're going to play most of Warped Tour, to be honest. I think they're going to end the day most days is A Day to Remember. I think A Day to Remember is going to end the day most days because they've been on multiple Warped Tours. They've headlined multiple Warped Tours. They're a Warped Tour band.
Yes.
And not to mention they have so many connections in the scene with people at Warped Tour and stuff like that. It wouldn't be that outlandish for them to be one of the main headliners on Warped Tour.
ADTR. You know what they say, if they'll perform, if you were to go and see them perform, you're going to experience
A Day to Remember.
A Day to Remember. #recycle.
So, the next thing we're moving on to, do you have anything else you need to say?
I don't need to say anything.
Okay. So, the next thing we're moving on to that you apparently do not have an opinion on.
Do I not?
Which is fine. Because I'm just going to run through them really fast because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Is local bands.
Oh, okay.
And the local bands that I want to see are all people who I'm friends with. So why?
Well, let me clarify real quickly. The reason why I don't have a strong opinion is 2 things. One.
Well, you don't go to local shows.
The local shows I go to draw about 20 people, so I don't want any of them to be at Warped Tour.
Have you seen the local band stages at Warped Tour?
No, I haven't. I've always come late.
They draw about 20 people.
Oh, nice.
So you could give me one. Give me 1 or 2 that you think would be cool.
I would think, oh my gosh, I don't really talk to them as much.
Just give me 1.
Just give me 1.
Just give me 1.
Honestly, the first thing I think of mine was the Skunkadelics.
Okay, well there you go.
Nice little. I forget where they're based out of.
Skunkadelics, get on that battle for the band's Warped Tour life. Kish will vote for you.
Actually, the band that I have the most ties to, it's their weird soul band, Sweet Haya. A couple of my friends are in that band every now and then as film musicians.
That's basically what...
It's their soul funk, but I don't feel like they'll fit the bill of Warped Tour, but I feel like of all the local bands I know, that's the biggest draw that I could see from based off of my knowledge is Sweet Haya. But it would be so weird to see them at a Warped Tour.
That's basically all of this, the local band thing. That's the only reason I made it a thing is because it's a thing that's happening at Warped Tour, and I know people who are in bands that I'd like to see out there at Warped Tour.
Cecil. I'm sorry, that's another local band.
Well, there you go. See, you made 3.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
This one is basically just for shout-outs anyway.
Oh, do you want me to keep shouting them out?
You get 2 more.
I get 2 more?
Yeah. Because I'm just going to roll through mine anyways.
Wander.
Okay.
Social Stereo.
Okay, well, there you go. Cool. So mine are Gunset Passion.
Oh, wasn't that one of mine?
The Animal and Me. I want them to come back. And play either at a better time or have them open the gates earlier so I can actually see them this time. Decades In, formerly Dennis is Dead.
Oh, okay, nice.
Spite, who are actually a big band and I can actually see. They have a good chance of not being on the local stage but being on like the Full Sail or something like that. And Masura. They're from, I can't remember where they're from, but they are not.
They're from the Bay.
No, they're not from around here.
Oh.
But they're a smaller band, so I'm hoping that it's like a thing where they're one of those people that follows the Warped Tour around.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it.
You hand them out to the people in line while you're waiting to get in.
Oh, hey, another special guest headliner that I forgot to mention.
It's too late.
You're right. No, it's too late. I'm gonna get over it.
All right.
It's whatever. So we're moving on to merch.
Who is it?
Gambino.
Oh, nice.
Totally not happening. I don't think it's happening at all.
Well, Gambino's dead.
That's true.
It's
It's just
Glover.
Donald Glover now. So let's move on to merch.
All right.
So merch. This
the
is.
Post Malone was a very nice gift.
I can actually see him like 50-50 happening. At least on one date. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So merch stuff. What is yours? Because I know yours is a little bit shorter than mine.
It's very simple. I mean, I'm a pretty simple guy. I just want a nice Forever Warped 18 shirt, last design.
Oh, so you're actually gonna buy a Warped Tour shirt?
If I have, because you know me, I'm really into.
You're into the tour shirts, yeah.
But with the Warped Tour, I don't really see too many of them often. So it doesn't even need to have all of the stops and all of the dates. If you have the year on it, that's what I'm really looking for. And the dates are a little added because I can say, hey, I was at this location. But Forever Warped, and if you have a little apostrophe 18 on it, I'd buy a shirt on that, maybe a hoodie, maybe a sticker, a pin. I'm not all of it, but I would
Just
see which one of
a
these.
couple of those things, maybe. A
Yeah.
hat or a beanie or something like that.
Yeah, cup, poster. Did I say sticker already? Sticker.
I would buy a sticker.
So stuff like that. All I want is one good, solid design. And if that design is on several different merchandise, I will buy several different merchandise of the same design.
Okay.
Yes. That's all I really want to see.
Custom
Ranger.
Warped Tour 2018 bands.
Oh. Oh, shoot. All right. Let me go ahead and add that to my list.
Your
as well.
shopping list?
Yeah, bands.
Is that all you had?
See, I also would like to see some custom 2018 Forever Warped Vans. I think that would be really cool.
Okay.
Because, you know, the Vans Warped Tour,
Yeah.
being the main sponsor, I think it'd be really cool if they shouted
Made
out
some
Warped
custom
Tour like
bands,
that.
yeah. And not just sell at the Warped Tour, but like in stores too.
Oh, man.
Just
But limited edition, you know, bundle.
Vans sponsor the show. We'll take it. I will. You don't even have to pay me. Give me shoes. I'm good. I'll be
Those
into
shoes.
it. Yeah, those shoes specifically.
Realistically, though, shoelaces.
Vans Warped Tour shoelaces. Yeah, I could see that.
Water bottles. I'm just naming it off.
My thing, so what I want is I have specific brands I want to see there.
Okay.
I think Black Craft Cult should come back. I think Cat Clothing should come back. There's this one called Cursed Life. I think they would be good there. I want to see more windbreakers from bands.
All right. That'd be kind of cool.
More patches.
All right.
And enamel pins.
Alrighty.
And then just more weird clothing options. So, for example, 4 Year Strong. A few years, I think every year they've been on Warped Tour, they've had a Hawaiian shirt design. That's a 4 Year Strong Hawaiian shirt design. I want to see more stuff like that. So
That'd be I would probably think about buying a Hawaiian shirt like that.
Hawaiian shirt designs, cut off sleeve hoodies, that kind of thing. So just weird, different things that you're not. Skateboards, I don't know, like the deck.
Yeah.
Something like weird stuff like that. That's what I want to see there. And also, this is like just a suggestion for Warped Tour in general. Open the doors earlier. Don't open before people play. That's what I'm asking for. It doesn't have to be a really long time before people play. 30 minutes. If I you guys should definitely listen to me when I say this. Even an hour. I know it's not going to happen, but even an hour before would be nice, because if you can get the people to set up the merch tables early and have everybody come in, everybody can buy their stuff early. I'll speak for myself. I can buy my stuff early in the morning, put it in my backpack, throw it in a locker, pay the $5 for the locker, throw it in a locker. Don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. Plus, I get to see the bands who are opening, which was the big problem last year. I missed out on Sworn In and Animal and Me, because they were two of the first bands in the morning, and they only get 15-20 minute sets. So waiting we got in the shorter line, and even in the shorter line we couldn't make it. Hashtag thank you Kish for risking it.
Risk versus reward ratio.
Hashtag risk versus reward ratio.
And you can't coin that because we did make that up. We're the first people to think of a risk ratio reward.
Yes.
Or
risk versus reward ratio.
Yeah, we're the first. Yeah. Risk ratio.
RRR.
The risk
the triple
reward,
R system.
The TR.
Yeah.
TR.
TR. So that's my one suggestion about that. So let's wrap this up. I think Survival Guide can come after they make the Warped Tour announcements. We'll have a post post Warped Tour lineup announcement podcast as well. Mm-hmm. And we'll throw in a survival guide at the end of that.
It just makes sense to do it that way. You can say that's what we're supposed to do.
So for now, let's have some final words and some last minute recommendations if you have anything.
It's just one of those things to. Unfortunately, as we say goodbye to the Warped Tour, I don't want to get too in depth into this one, but it's with all these music festivals that are coming out, and I feel like if I start talking, I'm going to start talking about a different
festival.
Not just a different festival, a totally different topic.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a final word. It's going to lead to like 3 different several conversations. So I guess I could cut all of that out and just say that I'll just get straight to the point. I was going to say 3 or 4 things, but it would have led to this one point. The reason why music festivals, not just the Warped Tour, but music festivals aren't popping like they used to be, is because people are going there for, and one of the arguments I heard for is that people are going there for the vibe. And by that, I mean, let me rephrase that.
An experience?
There's a better way to put it. I heard a comedian say, people go to Coachella to tell people they went to Coachella. And that is why music festivals are dying. Music festivals are... You go once
and then you're like, okay,
they go there for the headliner to say they saw the headliner. Not to experience the headliner, not to experience
or to
the
say they just went to the festival
once. To say they went to the festival, and...
I went to Coachella, I went to Lollapalooza, I went to Red Rock.
It's a trend. They're there for the appearance. And music festivals is a celebration of music. So when we go to Warped Tour 2018 Forever Warped, experience the music. Because Warped Tour was arguably, and I could say it is almost definitively, the last festival that was created for the music. It was a self-proclaimed traveling tour, so we knew what we were getting ourselves into. And with a 30-minute set list, and we've been using the word headliner, but there's no real true headliner. They're just main stage acts. You draw out of a hat and you'll see who the first person performs, who the last person performs. You go to Warped Tour to experience a day. You go to Warped Tour because you can get there and you don't know what your schedule is going to be. You go there and you figure out your schedule there, and then you figure out your merch. You figure out I'll go straight into the survival guide, so I don't want to talk too much about that one. But too many concerts, too many events, too many festivals are there for the aesthetic, for the appearance, for the I'm here just to show you that I've been here.
For a Snapchat pic and an Instagram.
For a Snapchat and Instagram, a double tap and a swipe right.
Yeah.
That's the reason why those exist. And if you go to Warped Tour with that mentality, you are not going to get the full experience that Warped Tour has provided for the past 24 years. Warped Tour was never about the money. It was always music first. So go to Warped Tour, see the bands that you want to see, meet and greet who you want to meet, and just go there because Warped Tour is hashtag forever warped.
Good. I like that end up. I'm gonna say for my last thing is if you've ever thought about going to any Warped Tour, if you've even had the inkling and you were either like, nah, I'm not gonna go, or maybe you had something else going on that day. For example, back in 2010 when I wanted to go to my first Warped Tour, I couldn't because I got my wisdom teeth pulled. If you had any kind of inkling or like any want to go to any Warped Tour at any point, even if you don't want to go, you don't like right now, you're like, oh, Warped Tour, I'm a 25-year-old, I don't want to go to Warped Tour anymore. Just go. It's the last year. What do you have to lose, man? Like, it's the last year, you're going to pay $40-50 for a ticket, and you're going to have a fun time. Bring some friends, hang out, see some bands that maybe you used to like when you were a kid, have some nostalgia. That's my biggest thing. It's like, because I remember going to my first Warped Tour, and that'll be a different story for a different time when I have Tyler here, is like, it was just such a crazy, more so my second one actually, it was such a crazy, like, magical experience, just being there with my friends and like hanging out, getting in the pit, being sweaty at the end of the day and tired, and you're just like, you feel like you've done something, you know what I mean? You feel like something happened, and you didn't have to take, don't get me wrong, I've taken pictures at Warped Tour and I took pictures at the last Warped Tour, but I don't I didn't take nearly as many. I take one at like the beginning of certain sets for people that I'm really excited about, and that's about it. And that's because I don't feel like I want the memories to look back on, but I only need a little piece of it to remember the whole day. And if I was taking pictures like most people do at these big festivals, at Coachella, or even at just like EDM concerts, a lot of people will almost basically live stream a whole EDM concert. It's like, I don't need to do that to remember a Warped Tour, because I get done at the end of the day and I'm like, whoa, like that was awesome. And that's why I hope a lot more people, especially you younger kids, like, if you guys want to come out to Warped Tour, convince your parents, like, be like, I need to go to Warped Tour this year. Hell yeah.
Warped Tour adapted to hip-hop, they added hip-hop, but they never actually truly changed who they are. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for always being the consistent force for the past 24 years, and I'd wish you 24 more if that was your desire, but if not your desire, do what you gotta do. All we can say now is thank you.
Thank you, and we'll see you guys at the Warped Tour. We'll also come back to this channel, The Ghost Pit, if you want to see more Warped Tour updates until the day of the actual event. I will be trying to I'm not gonna, like I said again, I don't want to capture the whole thing. I have my own things I want to do at Warped Tour, but I will put up maybe a couple little short videos on my Warped Tour experience. We're definitely going to do one beforehand for when they announce a lineup, and maybe we'll do a post Warped Tour like wrap up after we gone to it, be like, oh, this was the good things, this is the bad things, see you later kind of thing, like a send off. So yeah, if you guys are into Warped Tour and music, alternative stuff, come back here. We'll be talking about it again. We also play games here. I just do everything that's not art here. Check out my other channel, Gacha Ghost Art, where I do speed paints and art podcasts, and all my social media. I don't know. Do you need any social media promotion?
Actually, do you want me to just go ahead and plug myself right here?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. So this is actually very new because I was actually not expecting to be invited by you so fast. So literally, it's a day old as of this recording. But if you want to go ahead and follow my SoundCloud, it's Just Kish.
Check out my SoundCloud.
ITSJUST.
You got the fire tracks.
KISH. It's Just Kish.
Speaking of which, when's that? I heard you're working on a cover with a couple guys. When's that happening?
I don't know.
Because I mean, last winter, last December, it was a long, lonely December. So without the song that I heard you were making, I've been waiting.
It's not ringing a bell. I'm sorry, man. But on the SoundCloud, it's a lot of...
What do you have on your SoundCloud?
It's mostly, as you probably in the side conversation that we had, I was doing some background music for some side video game projects. So I'm just basically creating an electronic portfolio of what I have. So currently what you're going to find right there, since again, very new, you're going to hear a couple of steampunk themed bass tracks, but it's going to continue to grow into just a variant of genres that's going to become whatever my heart desires to make.
For sure. Yeah, so you heard it here first. Go check. It's Just
Kish.
It's Just Kish on SoundCloud. Go check out his music. And
when I have a YouTube, I'll go ahead and plug it too. But...
For sure, yeah. You'll be on my sidebar for sure. You'll be up there.
Oh yeah, and the related videos.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So go check him out if you're a game designer, people, musicians, ladies. You know what I mean? Know what I'm saying?
I'm nodding my head. I'm nodding my head. If you didn't see that.
So, and then all of my social media will be, around the page or down in the description. It's just Gacha Ghost on most places, or Gacha Ghost Art. This has been the Ghost Pit podcast for #foreverwarped, and we will see you guys next time.
Jinx.
Cool. Great.